All right, deep divers, welcome back to the show. Today we're diving into a world that's often shrouded in mystery and misconception, even a little fear, the world of the occult. And trust me, after this deep dive, you'll never look at American history or culture quite the same way again. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're ready to have your mind blown wide open. And to help us navigate this fascinating but often misunderstood terrain, we have with us an expert who can shed light on all those shadowy corners. You ready to unveil some secrets?
Absolutely. I think you're going to be surprised by how deeply intertwined the occult is with the very fabric of American life.
Ooh, I'm intrigued already. So our compass for this journey is Mitch Horowitz's Occult America, The Secret History of How Mysticism Shaped Our Nation. It's a book packed with stories so wild they'll make your head spin. But before we get lost in a whirlwind of seances and secret societies, what exactly are we talking about when we say the occult?
That's a great question because so often the word occult conjures up images of, well, the OCCLT. Dark robes, creepy chanting, maybe a bubbling cauldron or two. But in reality, it's a far broader spectrum of beliefs and practices. Think of it as an umbrella term for anything that seeks to understand and harness unseen forces, whether for personal growth, social change, or even just trying to figure out what's going on in this crazy universe we call home.
So not necessarily about summoning demons then, more like exploring the hidden potential of the human mind and spirit.
Exactly. And what makes American occultism so unique is this fascinating blend of ancient traditions with a very American can-do spirit. It's about seeking that workable God, a force you can tap into to improve yourself and make the world a better place.
I am so here for that. And speaking of a workable God, Horowitz kicks off his book with a story that perfectly captures this idea.
Yeah.
9-year-old Mitch has this chance encounter with the dime horoscope machine and its inventor Zolar.
It's a seemingly mundane event, but it sparked a lifelong fascination with the occult for Horowitz. It highlights this notion that the mystical isn't always hidden in some remote monastery. It can be found in the everyday, in the unexpected.
It's like magic lurking in plain sight. And that chance meeting leads us to our first stop on this deep dive. Upstate New York, specifically a region known as the Burned-Over District.
This area in the early 19th century was like a spiritual tinderbox, primed for new religious movements and unconventional ideas.
Why there? What made that particular patch of land such fertile ground for the, let's say, spiritually adventurous?
Picture this. Post-revolution America. A young nation grappling with its identity, anxieties about the future, and a whole lot of religious fervor. The Burned-Over District, already known for its intense religious revivals, became a crucible for those seeking new ways to connect with the divine, find meaning in their lives, and maybe even shake things up a bit.
So this spiritual seeking created a kind of psychic highway where all these new and unconventional ideas could travel and take root.
Exactly. And these weren't just abstract theological debates. These ideas had real-world consequences. People were forming utopian communities, challenging traditional power structures, and even experimenting with radical new forms of social organization. Think Jemima Wilkinson, the public universal friend.
Oh, yes. Jemima Wilkinson, who claimed to have died and been resurrected as a genderless being, preaching equality and challenging social norms.
And she wasn't alone. This era also saw the rise of Joseph Smith and the founding of Mormonism. Smith himself was deeply influenced by the folklore and occult beliefs of the region, claiming to have received divine revelations that led to the creation of the Book of Mormon.
It's wild to think about all these figures, these movements bubbling up in this one area. And it's a reminder that the quest for a workable God in America has always been tied to this desire for social change for a better world. It's about taking those mystical ideas and turning them into action.
And out of this fascinating melting pot of ideas emerges a figure who'll become incredibly influential in shaping American occultism. Andrew Jackson Davis, the Poughkeepsie seer.
Okay, Davis's story is seriously captivating. He goes from this humble cobbler's apprentice to a national sensation, giving trance lectures about the afterlife and advocating for progressive social reforms, all before the age of 30.
What's remarkable about Davis is that he takes this idea of accessing higher knowledge, this superior condition, as he called it, and makes it accessible to everyone. He essentially democratizes spiritual seeking, and this really sets the stage for the rise of spiritualism.
Ah, spiritualism, talking to the dead seances, spirit boards, the stuff spooky movies are made of. But it was more than just a parlor game, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It was a movement that captivated millions of Americans, offering solace and connection in a time of great social upheaval and personal loss, especially after the Civil War.
And speaking of connecting with those who have passed on, you can't talk about spiritualism without mentioning the Fox sisters. Their story, which kicks off in 1838, is like something out of a ghost story. Mysterious rapping sounds in their home eventually attributed to the spirit of a murdered peddler.
The Fox sisters' tale spread like wildfire, igniting the spiritualist craze. People flocked to seances, eager to commune with loved ones, seek guidance, and maybe even get a glimpse into the afterlife.
It even reached the White House. I mean, imagine the pressure President Lincoln was under during the Civil War. It's no wonder he might have sought solace and guidance from the spirit world.
And what's fascinating is that spiritualism wasn't just an American phenomenon. It became the first American spiritual movement exported abroad. It even inspired the creation of Chaotism, a new religion in Vietnam that blends elements of Christianity, Buddhism, and Confucianism.
Wow, that's some serious spiritual reach. And speaking of reaching out to the spirit world, let's talk about the Ouija board. You know that mysterious talking board often relegated to dusty attics or slumber parties?
The Ouija board is a classic example of American ingenuity applied to the occult. It emerged from this desire to make communicating with the dead more accessible, more DIY.
So not just a Hasbro game then.
Definitely not at its inception. It started as a homemade device cobbled together by spiritualists in the 1880s, a way to make talking to spirits as commonplace as well, using a telephone.
It's amazing how these seemingly simple objects can become such powerful symbols. And the Ouija board, with its mysterious allure, continues to fascinate and even frighten people to this day.
It speaks to our enduring fascination with the unknown, with the possibility of connecting with something beyond our everyday reality.
Okay, so we've got spiritualism taking off, offering solace and a way to connect with loved ones. But alongside that, we also see the emergence of new thought. Now, this one feels like a real shift in thinking, a move away from just communicating with spirits to actually harnessing the power of the mind to shape reality.
That's precisely it. New Thought is distinctly American blending that can do spirit with a metaphysical twist. It's about the power of positive thinking, the law of attraction, the idea that your thoughts create your reality.
It's like saying, hey, maybe God isn't some distant deity. Maybe it's a force within us, a power we can tap into to create the life we want.
Exactly. It's about finding that workable God within yourself. And this idea resonated deeply with Americans, especially as the country entered the 20th century, a time of rapid change and seemingly limitless possibilities.
It's a philosophy that's still with us today, woven into everything from self-help books to motivational seminars.
It's a legacy that continues to inspire and empower people to take control of their lives and create their own destinies. But it also raises some important questions about the ethical implications of this power. Is it just about personal gain, or can it be used for something greater, for social good?
That's a question that will echo throughout our entire deep dive. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, let's shift our focus to the unique expressions of the occult within African American communities.
Hoodoo, a powerful system of folk magic with roots in African traditions, is a prime example.
It's a blend of practicality and spirituality, using everyday objects like herbs, roots, and household items to address very real concerns. Protection, healing, love, even financial matters.
Hoodoo was and still is about survival and resilience. It's about finding ways to take control of your life, even in a system designed to strip you of your power. Even Frederick Douglass, the renowned abolitionist, had an experience with a root worker named Sandy Jenkins.
Douglass's story, with its mix of skepticism and respect for Sandy's knowledge, is a powerful reminder that the occult isn't just some abstract philosophy. It's a way of life, a means of navigating a world filled with oppression and uncertainty.
And it wasn't just about individual empowerment. Figures like Black Herman, the legendary African-American stage magician, used their skills to entertain and uplift Black audiences, weaving social commentary and messages of self-reliance into their acts.
And we can't forget Marcus Garvey, the charismatic Black nationalist leader who had envisioned a Pan-African superpower.
Garvey skillfully blended New Thought principles with his vision of Black liberation, emphasizing self-reliance and the power of belief to achieve greatness.
It's an incredible example of how occult ideas could be adapted and used to fuel social and political movements.
And Garvey's story, like so many others in Occult America, demonstrates that the occult in this country is not a monolithic entity. It's a tapestry woven from diverse cultural experiences, individual stories, and a shared yearning for a more just and equitable world. So far, we've seen occult ideas spread through personal encounters, whispers in the burned-over district, even from the stage. But the early 20th century brings a whole new avenue for mystical knowledge. Mail-order occultism.
Mail-order occultism. Okay, now that sounds like something straight out of a movie montage. Are we talking old-timey advertisements in the backs of magazines? Learn the secrets of the ancients. Send only $1.99.
It really wasn't that far off. Figures like Paul Foster Case and Elbert Benjamin saw the potential of reaching a wider audience. They started offering correspondence courses, books, pamphlets, all through the mail.
Oh, like the original online courses before the internet even existed.
Exactly. It was a democratization of magic. You didn't need to be part of some secret society or travel to a hidden temple. Anyone anywhere could learn about tarot, astrology, Kabbalah, all from the comfort of their own home.
That's so American right. Making something once shrouded in secrecy available to the masses. And it makes me think of Paul Foster Case, who started as a vaudeville magician before becoming a leading figure in occult education. Talk about a career change.
Case's story is fascinating. He was initially drawn to the occult through the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, a very secretive organization, but he believed this knowledge shouldn't be locked away in some hidden chamber. So he founded his own organization, BOTA, to make these teachings more accessible.
So he's like the OG occult influencer.
In a way, yes, and his BOTO teachings were hugely influential. He presented occult concepts in a structured, almost scientific way, which really appealed to people seeking a more rational approach to spirituality.
And it wasn't just about gaining knowledge for knowledge's sake. Case believed in the ethical use of these powers,
Yeah.
that this wasn't about manipulating reality for selfish gain, but about personal growth and spiritual evolution.
Absolutely. And Elbert Benjamin, another key figure in this mail-order mysticism boom, shared that emphasis on ethical practice. His organization, the Church of Light, stressed using occult knowledge for the betterment of humanity.
It seems like this era is really where that idea of a workable God takes on a whole new dimension. It's not just about personal power. It's about using that power to create a better world.
Right. And this focus on personal empowerment and spiritual growth aligns perfectly with another key location in Occult America, California.
California. Land of sunshine, Hollywood glamour, and occult haven. That's not exactly the first image that talks into my head when I think of the Golden State.
But California in the early 20th century became a magnet for spiritual seekers and occult practitioners of all stripes. It was a place where unconventional ideas could flourish. And it's no coincidence that Hollywood, with its focus on dreams and illusions, played a significant role in shaping the American occult landscape.
Okay, I'm hooked.
Yes.
Give me the Hollywood occult lowdown.
Well, first, you have figures like Manly P. Hall, who founded the Philosophical Research Society in Los Angeles. His book, The Secret Teachings of All Ages, is a massive compendium of esoteric knowledge, drawing on everything from ancient mythology to Renaissance alchemy to Eastern mysticism.
It sounds like the ultimate occult Wikipedia.
Exactly. It was a way of bringing together all these different strands of occult thought under one roof.
And of course, you can't talk about California and occultism without mentioning astrology.
True. Hollywood was and still is obsessed with astrology. You had figures like Carol Reiter, the gregarious Gemini, who was the go-to astrologer for movie stars and celebrities.
So like the original celebrity psychic.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And alongside Reiter, you had Sidney Omar, the thinking man's astrologer, who took a more intellectual approach to the practice. He even wrote a syndicated astrology column that ran in hundreds of newspapers.
Wow, astrology was big business. But I imagine navigating the world of Hollywood fame and fortune while trying to maintain your occult integrity couldn't have been easy.
It wasn't. And some, like Hall, seemed to successfully navigate those treacherous waters, staying true to their principles while achieving a level of mainstream success. Others, however, succumbed to the temptations of fame and fortune, perhaps diluting the very teachings they espoused.
It makes you think about the ethical dilemmas that come with any kind of power. Whether it's earthly influence or access to hidden knowledge, it's a theme that runs through Occult America like a golden thread. And speaking of navigating complex spiritual landscapes, no exploration of American occultism would be complete without Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet.
Cayce is such an enigma. This devout Christian with limited formal education becomes internationally renowned for his ability to diagnose illnesses and offer medical advice while in a trance state.
It's almost too strange to believe he'd go into a trance, his voice would change, and he'd start rattling off detailed medical insights that often baffled doctors. It's like something out of a superhero movie.
It really is. And what's even more fascinating is that Cayce resisted the label of psychic. He believed his abilities were a gift from God, a way to help others heal and find spiritual fulfillment.
His story really pushes the boundaries of what we think we know about healing intuition, the power of the subconscious mind. And to think his influence is still felt today in alternative medicine and New Age spirituality.
Right. Cayce's holistic approach to health and well-being, this interconnectedness of mind, body, and spirit, continues to resonate with people seeking a more integrated approach to healing.
And it's not just about physical healing. Case also gave readings on spiritual matters, offering guidance on everything from past lives to dream interpretation to the meaning of life itself. He even had a reading with a former member of the Ku Klux Klan, urging him to choose a path of love and understanding.
It's a powerful reminder that the occult at its core is about transformation. It's about looking inward, confronting our shadows, and striving to become better versions of ourselves.
And this emphasis on personal growth, spiritual evolution, really paves the way for the emergence of the New Age movement in the mid-20th century.
The New Age movement was like a spiritual kaleidoscope, blending elements of Eastern philosophies, occult traditions, and a fascination with channeling past lives and higher consciousness.
It was a reaction to the perceived limitations of traditional religion, seeking a more expansive view of reality and a more personal, experiential approach to spirituality.
Absolutely. And figures like Baird T. Spalding, author of Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East, played a key role in shaping early New Age thought. His book, which claimed to be based on his travels with a group of mystical masters in the Himalayas, popularized the idea of wise, immortal beings guiding humanity from behind the scenes.
It's like a real-life Indiana Jones adventure, but with spiritual gurus instead of lost artifacts.
And Spalding's work introduced key New Age concepts: the oneness of all religions, the potential for self-realization, the importance of inner transformation, all themes that continue to resonate within the movement today.
It's amazing to think how these seemingly fringe ideas, once confined to small circles, eventually seeped into mainstream culture. You have celebrities talking about their astrological signs, mindfulness practices rooted in Eastern philosophies being taught in schools and self-help books, drawing on the principles of New Thought topping bestseller lists.
It's evidence of a growing openness to alternative ways of thinking, a recognition that there's more to reality than meets the eye. And the occult, with its emphasis on intuition, self-discovery, and spiritual exploration, continues to offer a compelling path for those seeking meaning and connection in an increasingly complex world.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
Yeah.
From the psychic highway of the burned-over district to the heart of Hollywood, we've seen how occult ideas have shaped American history and culture in ways we often overlook.
And it's not just about history. These ideas are still relevant today. They offer insights into the human condition, our search for meaning, and our enduring fascination with the unseen forces that shape our lives.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Occult America, one question keeps swirling around in my mind. Why? Why have these ideas, often dismissed as fringe or even taboo, continued to resonate with Americans for centuries? What is it about the occult that keeps drawing people in?
I think it speaks to a very human longing for something beyond the material world, a yearning for meaning and purpose that transcends the everyday. The occult offers a different lens through which to view reality, a way to grapple with life's big questions and mysteries.
It's like that feeling you get when you look up at a star-filled sky and realize just how vast and unknown the universe is. It's awe-inspiring and a little terrifying, all at the same time.
Exactly. And in a world that can often feel chaotic and overwhelming, the occult offers a sense of agency. It empowers individuals to believe they can tap into unseen forces, shape their own destinies, and maybe even make a difference in the world.
It's about taking control, finding that inner strength, and realizing that we're not just passive observers in this cosmic play. We have the power to create, to heal, to transform.
And that's a message that has resonated throughout American history. From the early pioneers seeking a new life in the wilderness, to the social reformers fighting for justice and equality, the occult has provided a framework for understanding the world and our place in it.
And it's not just about individual empowerment. As we've seen, occult ideas have often been intertwined with social movements pushing for progress and challenging the status quo.
Think about the transcendentalists who drew inspiration from Eastern philosophies and mystical traditions. They championed individualism, self-reliance, and a deep connection to nature. Their ideas had a profound impact on American thought, influencing everything, from literature and art to education and social reform.
It's like a ripple effect. These seemingly fringe ideas can spread outwards, influencing the culture in ways we might not even realize.
And that's what makes Occult America such a thought-provoking read. It challenges us to look beyond the surface to see the hidden connections between these seemingly disparate movements and individuals, and to recognize the profound influence of the occult on American history and culture.
It's like we've been given a secret decoder ring, allowing us to see familiar stories in a whole new light. And makes you wonder, What role will the occult play in shaping America's future?
That's a great question. We live in a time of rapid technological advancement, social upheaval, and growing uncertainty about the future. It's a time ripe for new ideas and spiritual exploration.
And the occult, with its emphasis on intuition, self-discovery, and connecting with something larger than ourselves, might just offer a compass for navigating these uncharted waters.
It's about recognizing the interconnectedness of all things, the power of our thoughts and beliefs to shape reality, and the importance of living in alignment with our highest values.
It's a message of hope, empowerment, and possibility. And in a world that often feels divided and uncertain, that's a message we could all use a little more of.
Absolutely. And as we conclude this deep dive, I encourage everyone listening to continue exploring, to question and to seek their own understanding of the mysteries that lie within and around us.
Beautifully said. A huge thank you to our expert for sharing their incredible knowledge with us today. You've given us so much to think about, and I have a feeling we'll be unpacking this deep dive for weeks to come.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our amazing listeners, thank you for joining us on this journey into the hidden world of Occult America. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with anyone who might be interested in exploring the mystical side of American history. Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.